I recently discovered that my wife is having an emotional affair, and there might be a physical aspect to it too. The guy involved has been a long-term friend who's been around since before I came into the picture. We've been married for 20 years, no children together, but she has grown-up kids from a previous marriage. Our intimate life took a hit about 5 years ago when she lost interest, making it clear that it was a chore. We grew apart. A couple of months ago, I realized I couldn't continue like that, so I started working on our relationship, and our friendship improved significantly. However, she dropped a bombshell, saying she's no longer romantically or solely in love with me. At the same time, I discovered she was messaging and spending time with this friend. I confronted her, and she admitted to going out for drinks with him, seeming to think it wasn't wrong. She told me he got kicked out by his wife and asked her to move in with him. She's uncertain about what to do and needs time to think. I took some time to process this, and we've had multiple conversations. I love her and believe we can have a happy future, but I can't continue living like this. She needs to decide, but it seems like she's torn between her head and her heart. She knows I'm a loving husband, and we have a good life together, but she's finding excitement in the affair. She talks about long-term plans like gardening, but I can't help but wonder if she'll be here to see them through. She understands the stress this uncertainty is causing me and that she needs to decide soon, but she's reluctant. I've made it clear that I won't accept this double life, and if she can't choose, I'll do it for her, because our life together should mean more to her. Right now, it's a strange half-life where she kisses me goodnight but spends her days, presumably, with him. Thanks for reading, it felt good to get my thoughts out. I'm going to make a decision soon, I have to. My own mental health has been suffering for a long time, and this situation has only made it worse. On a positive note, it forced me to confront my own issues and realize that I couldn't handle them alone. I've reached out for help. I had an epiphany yesterday when I hit rock bottom, and my first thought was still about how this would affect her. But at this point in my life, my top priority is me, not us and not her. The last 2 years have been challenging, and I admit I've been neglectful. Instead of addressing that with me and suggesting we find our closeness again, SHE chose to have an affair. If our marriage ends as a result, that's on her. I hadn't heard of terms like 180 and pygmy dance until I found this website a couple of days ago. I never thought I'd need to. I never would have believed she was capable of this, hence the title of this thread. The issue for her is that she knows I'm steady and reliable, and she values the security of that. She also loves our home, cats, garden, basically the whole package. But her affair partner is offering her fun and excitement, even though she knows he's unreliable, and the house he's in is not great. I have a question about the 180. I understand that it's about showing you're moving forward, focusing on self-improvement, and becoming a better person. However, during this time, doesn't it seem like you're indirectly accepting the affair by allowing it to continue? This seems to conflict with most of the advice on this thread, which suggests confronting the wayward spouse and putting her in a position where she needs to make a decision promptly. I apologize if this sounds confused, but I am indeed feeling that way right now. On the positive side, I've seen a doctor and started taking antidepressants. I also have a therapy assessment booked for tomorrow to help me cope with my depression, which has been a hidden problem in my life for the past couple of years. I'm also getting my hair colored this week, something I used to enjoy but stopped because my spouse didn't like it. Doing it now feels rebellious, but I want to, so I'm going for it, regardless of what anyone, including my WW, thinks. It should raise a few eyebrows when I return to work next week. I'm incredibly grateful for this website, especially the tactical primer and the 180. It's astonishing how accurate and helpful that information has been for me in the short time since D-Day. If any newcomers are reading this and haven't checked out those articles yet, I strongly urge you to do so, even if you're not ready to start the 180 method. This morning, my wayward spouse initiated a conversation about our marriage, which is a first because I've been the one starting all previous discussions. She also admitted that she's unsure and flip-flopping about her decision. I shared my pain and hurt caused by her actions, and for the first time, she got upset because of the pain she's caused me. We had an honest discussion about the future of our marriage, and although no decision has been made, it was clear that my words were making an impact. She also mentioned noticing a change in my attitude since D-Day, which is contributing to her thinking. So, we don't know if this will lead to reconciliation or divorce, but for now, we're still communicating, and there's still hope. I have to admit that some parts of the 180 are quite liberating and feel really good. I've booked myself a theater trip next weekend to see a show I really want to see. In the past, I would have asked my wayward spouse, and if she didn't want to go, I probably wouldn't have gone either. But this time, I didn't ask. This experience has made it clear that one of the changes I'll be making if we reconcile is that I won't hold back from doing something just because she doesn't want to. I'll decide to do something, and if she wants to join, that's fine. If not, I won't miss out just because I used to put her feelings first. This would be a significant shift in our marriage dynamics, and if she doesn't like it, well, tough. She'll need to remember that her actions caused the upheaval in our marriage and changed who I am and how I approach life. If she had any suspicions that our relationship dynamics were changing before, it's now crystal clear to her. She was quite shocked and confused when she found out I was going to the theater without consulting her first. Then this morning, she complained that she never knows when I'll be home during the working day. I usually work from 8 to 4, but as I have a mix of office and work from home days, I just tell her I'll be home around lunchtime. She found this unpredictability unsettling and didn't like my new, less predictable schedule, even though she's complained before about me being too predictable. Hi there, thanks for your best wishes. Over the weekend, I went to the theater, and while the show was a bit cheesy and not fantastic, it felt amazing to get out and have some fun. I've always loved live theater and shows, and interestingly, I used to work at that exact theater for a few years, which was quite a thrill. One small change to the plans was that my wayward spouse wanted to go with me, so I agreed, and surprisingly, we had a very good time together. She's been more attentive and affectionate lately and seems to be making an effort to bring us closer. We appear to have entered a new phase where she has either ended the affair or she has escalated her lying to a significant extent. Naturally, I want to believe the former but remain cautious about the latter. For now, I'm waiting to see how this unfolds, but in a strange way, I feel relieved that we've reached a tipping point. Either she's genuinely trying to work things out for reconciliation, or I'll discover she's been lying extensively, which, in my mind, would be a line I won't accept, and I'd be ready to proceed with divorce. She's definitely making sure I know where she is at all times, and her actions seem to support this. However, I don't fully trust her, and it'll take a long time to rebuild that trust. She's also initiating more physical contact, hugs, kisses, and touches, more than before. Personally, I'm feeling much calmer, which I attribute to a combination of medication, having more time to process my thoughts since D-Day, and the improved atmosphere between my WS and me. Additionally, I've been working on my health. I developed an overeating disorder over the past 2 years and gained a significant amount of weight. Over the last 4 months, I've been controlling my diet and lost some weight, which feels great. I've even had to buy new clothes. However, one major hurdle remains. She doesn't seem to believe she's done something profoundly wrong and doesn't want to talk about it. It's as if she's denying it happened in her own head, and discussing it would make it too real. She also doesn't grasp the depth of my hurt. I understand we're different, and she wouldn't feel the same way, but I need her to comprehend how deeply I've been affected. I've printed an article from this website about the tears of the betrayed spouse and plan to read it with her at the right moment because that article precisely describes how I felt. It's still early days here, so I don't know where this will ultimately lead or even exactly where I want it to go at the moment. But I'll keep moving forward and see how things unfold. I can't believe she might try to love bomb me, but as the title of this thread says, I really don't know who she is anymore. I have to admit that all of you have been right on target so far. I'll mentally prepare myself in case she attempts that. This morning, I focused on practical matters like sorting out my council tax and other financial stuff. Since I don't have a forwarding address for her, they had to call her to get the information. So she already knows that I'm taking steps to organize my finances. In the afternoon, I spent time with a friend, just talking. She's been through a divorce, so she understands what I'm going through. Tomorrow, I have another friend coming over to help me rearrange furniture, change the use of some rooms, and essentially help me claim the space, as he put it. My wayward spouse is coming over on Saturday morning to take away the chickens we kept in the back garden, and I don't want to be responsible for them. So I'm already preparing myself for that encounter. I'm completely exhausted tonight as I've had a very busy yet productive day. This morning, I received a message from my wayward spouse saying she wanted to collect the double bed on Saturday when she comes to collect the chickens. I've already disassembled the bed and placed it by the door, ready for her. I know this might seem overly generous, but there's a purpose behind it. I've completely reclaimed the house. I moved my belongings into the larger bedroom, rearranged the furniture, even replaced a canvas wall hanging she liked with a framed football shirt. I also bought new bedding. There's nothing left in the room to indicate she ever lived here. She had also left a lot of her stuff lying around the house and in the bathrooms. I decided that these things were in my way, so I boxed them up and added them to the pile of chicken-related items she's collecting. I mostly work from home, and for the past 3 years, my office has been in a garden building we have. Today, I moved my office back into my old bedroom in the house and turned the garden building back into a gym, its original purpose. Basically, I've changed every room in the house in some way, even if it was just rearranging the furniture to give the rooms a different feel. I needed to do this for myself to make the house feel different. I suspect she's going to be in for a shock when she realizes how much I've changed everything in less than 48 hours since she left. She probably won't be expecting that, but hopefully, it shows her that I accept her decision and am moving on with my life. Today, WS showed up with her son and a friend to collect the chickens and the bed. I remained cool, calm, and collected throughout, had my game face on. Then, after she left, I got a bit emotional and had a brief cry, but she will never see me like that again. Surprisingly, it was her who seemed emotional and found the experience difficult. She walked through the house and I hung back, overhearing her exclaim, "Bloody hell," when she realized everything had changed. She seemed to notice every detail, even the new bedding and the football shirt that replaced her canvas on the bedroom wall. I think a heavy dose of reality hit her at that moment. I handed her unopened mail, and she tried several times to engage in conversation, but I refused to talk about anything other than the stuff she was collecting. I made it clear I wouldn't discuss anything else until she comes to get the rest of her clothes, etc. Just before she left, she tried to kiss me. I backed off, put my hand up, and made it clear it was not happening. We had a quick peck on the cheek and a brief hug to say goodbye right before she moved out, and as far as I'm concerned, that was it. There's no reason for her to touch me or try to kiss me again. I'm done with that. Her choices and her actions have caused this situation, not mine, and she needs to understand that reality. I have 3 fantastic friends who have really stepped up to support me. They're giving me some tough love at the moment, but I appreciate it. I was under strict orders to WhatsApp 2 of them when she had gone, and the third, who doesn't do social media, is coming over later today to see how things went this morning. My support network has been in full swing today. 2 friends came over, and the third was on the phone with me for over an hour. I'm incredibly grateful for their support. I was talking to my friend who's been through a divorce and has known both me and my wayward spouse for many years. I was telling her about how WS behaved this morning when she came to collect her things. She got emotional and seemed overwhelmed, and she couldn't wait to leave. My friend believes that WS expected to arrive this morning and find that nothing had changed in the house, and that I would be an emotional wreck in the corner. Instead, WS encountered a calm and confident betrayed spouse who had completely rearranged the house and physically distanced himself from her attempts at affection. My friend thinks WS has suddenly realized that she's lost control of the situation and me, and that I've taken back power and control over my own life. It does make sense. Despite the pain WS is causing me, I did feel some sympathy for her this morning because the whole experience seemed to upset her so much. I guess that says more about me as a person than it does about her. I can understand that it must have been shocking for her to see the house she's lived in for many years suddenly changed, but she's made her decision and now needs to live with the consequences. Our friend also believes that it won't be long before WS realizes she's made a huge mistake and wants to talk about moving back in. Unfortunately, she went through a similar experience with her own WS a few years ago. I need to mentally prepare myself for that possibility because right now, I'm not ready to deal with that emotion. A couple of months ago, I was mentally prepared for her to leave, realize her mistake, and I might have considered taking her back. But I'm no longer where I was 2 months ago, and I can't even contemplate moving toward reconciliation anymore. I told her at the beginning of this process that there would come a point when I'd had enough, and the pain would be too great to continue. Her comments this week, actually moving out, and admitting that she knew a month ago but didn't tell me because of my mental health problems have pushed me past that point. I can't understand how she could have known all that time and still be affectionate to me each day, making me believe she wanted reconciliation. How could she kiss me, hold me, and talk to me the way she did, all the while knowing she had decided to leave? I truly feel like I've been living with a stranger. I need advice. I've been communicating with my wayward spouse via WhatsApp to arrange when she'll come to collect more of her belongings, and we've also started the divorce process. I've received the divorce form and will fill it out this week, then I just need her to countersign it. The divorce process in the UK is more straightforward when you submit a joint application, partly because we don't have at-fault divorces anymore. However, some of her communications have been a bit strange, and it seems like the speed of the process is upsetting and overwhelming her. I'm naturally an organized and practical person who, once decisions are made, gets things done as soon as possible. I'm now applying the same principles to the divorce, hence wanting her things gone and wanting to get the divorce process and financial settlement underway, even though it still takes at least 7 months even if both parties agree. I understand that she's lost control of the situation, but I don't understand why that should matter anymore. She's getting what she wanted, which is to live with her affair partner, so why should it be a problem that I'm being practical and giving her what she needs, namely a divorce? Is she getting upset because I'm coping so well and not falling apart emotionally? But again, why should that matter? She left to live with AP, and if there are still any caring feelings left for me, shouldn't she be happy that I'm coping and handling things calmly and practically? I realize she might be concerned about the divorce process becoming contentious. Her first divorce was apparently very acrimonious, and her ex-husband still can't be civil to her even after all these years. They rarely communicate, but occasionally they have to because of their children. However, I'm not him. I've assured her several times over the last 2 months that, although this is not what I wanted, if we end up getting divorced, I want it to be calm and amicable. There's no need for it to be argumentative. The decision has been made, and the best outcome for both of us is to work through the process and then go our separate ways. She told me last week that she's only told 2 friends about our situation. I visited one of them today to return a spare key to our house, and it's clear that even though she's a friend to WS, she thinks WS has lost her way and doesn't approve of her actions at all. I'm totally confused. OMG, this morning was incredibly tough. WS came to the property with a van to collect more of her belongings, and today felt much more difficult than Saturday when she first came back. I think maybe I was too numb on Saturday to feel much, but now, after a week of processing the situation, it hit me harder. On Saturday, she only took things that were clearly her own possessions and the chickens, which I didn't want. This morning, we had to deal with joint possessions like kitchen appliances, saucepans, and other things that, in my mind, are part of our marriage and that we both bought and used together. That felt much harder than her taking her own things. Looking back, I should have realized it would be different, but I didn't. However, I managed to hold it together until she left, and then I got upset. She also wanted to chit-chat about her week, but I just couldn't engage. I only discussed the things she was taking, remaining polite but uninterested. She was quite unprepared and didn't bring nearly enough boxes or space on the van for all the things she said she wanted to take today. So, many items will need to be collected on at least one more visit. It seemed like she got overwhelmed and just wanted to leave, which she did. We've agreed that I'll let her know which morning or afternoon I'm available next week for her to collect more belongings. I also told her that on that day, I want us to complete the divorce form so it can be sent off. It was an extremely tough morning, but I spent an hour on the phone with a friend afterward, and another friend is coming over this evening to see how it went and give me someone to talk to. Of course, I also have all of you good people here, and I'm very thankful I found this website because it has helped me a lot. Hearing your thoughts, knowing that others have survived similar situations, and receiving your advice has helped me prepare for what WS might do next. You've always been right, and I'm truly grateful to all of you. Despite the pain, I'm really enjoying this time to myself. I'm staying busy, and I love the changes I've made. Making decisions that only consider myself is a new and liberating experience, and it feels good. On a positive note, I had a job interview yesterday for a promotion I've been working towards for a long time, and I got the job. I'll start my new role on July 1st. I've arranged for WS to come around next Thursday to collect more belongings, but it seems she's not in a rush to take everything. She mainly wants to retrieve her pottery and some glassware. I don't feel that these repeated visits are helping me, so I've left the delicate items for her to pack, and today I spent 7 hours packing everything else. Her books, CDs, DVDs, various other possessions, bedding that her family used when they stayed with us, and plenty of spare towels, sheets, and bedding that I'd rather see gone. I've even cleared out the whole loft space and made sure all her things are ready for collection. Everything is neatly boxed or bagged, making it easy for her to collect. Once this stuff is gone, there will be nothing left in the house for her to retrieve. I know she wants some items from the garden, but I'll probably arrange to be elsewhere when she comes for those. While sorting out the spare bedding, I couldn't help but smile at the thought of her family visiting her new property. She's always complained about not seeing her grandchildren enough, but they used to visit quite regularly. We live in a seaside town, and it's just a 10-minute walk to the beach, which the kids love. I'm not sure how often they'll want to visit the new house, which is clearly not as appealing, being far inland and miles away from the beach. Also, while packing her books, I stumbled upon her diaries from the last 3 years. I took a moment to read about 2022 over a coffee, and unsurprisingly, they were spending time together much earlier than she had led me to believe. WS made me think the affair started around the end of November, but according to her diary, the AP video called her while he was on holiday in Crete, presumably with his wife, in May of the previous year. They even went out for drinks together in June. So this has been going on for a whole year before she decided to leave. It makes me wonder if she would have ever told me about it if I hadn't found out and put her in a position where she had to make a decision. I had made it clear that I would only consider moving towards reconciliation if she went no contact with the AP, something she couldn't bring herself to do. I had a great night's sleep last night in my brand new double bed. As I mentioned in an earlier post, WS took the double bed with her when she moved out. So now, she and AP are sleeping in an old bed that I used to share with my WS. Meanwhile, I have a new super comfy double bed all to myself, and no one but me will use it unless I decide they're worth my time and allow them into my personal space. The changes in the house are still happening at a furious pace. In addition to new bedding, I've bought new towels and various other items, just things to make the house feel different to me. I've also discovered the therapeutic benefits of gardening. Previously, WS did all the gardening as it was her passion. But yesterday, I spent part of my lunch hour cutting back and tidying some of the plants. It was surprisingly satisfying because the garden looked tidier and more orderly when I had finished. I'm not sure how WS will react when she sees it, but it's no longer up to her. When she lived here, I let her tend the garden how she wanted. Now that I live here, I'll tend the garden how I want. I'm also a bit of a watch collector and have bought myself a new watch to congratulate myself on my promotion. It has been dispatched, and I should receive it tomorrow, which is very exciting. I know it's very early days, but at the moment, I do feel more relaxed in the house. I'm not constantly wondering what she's going to be grumpy or complain about next. I'm starting to think that despite my efforts to preserve the marriage, this could work out as the better option for me after all. If she stays with AP, then I have the chance to write myself a new chapter. If she wants to discuss reconciliation, I'll have much healthier boundaries and requirements before I would